Okay, back at it again. Thursday evening, almost there. Almost that magical day. The end of the magical day. The beginning tomorrow morning is just poo. Fridays during the daytime are not my favorite time. It's when all the nonsense is over. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We've got 5 fully painted Huns from Gladiator. And the first thing we're going to do is Tony going to do magic. I don't know about magic. Paintopopolis. That'd be a silly Greek name, wouldn't it? Paintopopolis. Welcome back, Patriot. So, we got a limp camera. Nice. Now, that's what happens when you order things for your camera several years ago, and you got to order them from Amazon because stores don't have them anymore, and you can't try them out. So, okay. Welcome. So we've got these 5 guys done. These are the 4 that are going to go with the guys that do not have bows. So these guys have bows, but we painted one guy that did have a bow last night. We finished him up. So I need to get one light horse figure that has a hand weapon and put him together. And then we'll start painting these guys. All right? That's the strategy or the tactic for tonight. Let's move these guys off to the side. Let's go grab our pile of folks with the hand weapons, which should be these guys right here. Now it's crick-crock the other way. Well, I figured I was going to be controversial today, so I figured I'd wear a shirt with, one of the 10 worst empires in history. Hey, here's your guys wearing tartan there, Patriot. I look hopefully in the next 2 years to paint some guys with some kind of tartan. Some people are scared, but I welcome the challenge. Hopefully I will do them honor. I want to do such a good job with tartan, people will go like, oh, that's Clan MacGuffin, or whatever, whoever they happen to be. Clan MacGuffin. Oh, man. Let's see. I gotta paint some Scots, man. I like Scotch, and, I can annoy the hell out of you with a stupid accent. It'll still be better than anything Mitch can come up with, so. All right. Here's the empty horses. Mr. Jeremy, welcome back. You're gonna get that repeat visitor badge. Oh, look at the abs on this guy. This guy's bare-chested. I got to put my glasses on. God, I should have done this 5 years ago when I didn't need to do this. I used to paint in 20/20 vision. And he's got abs on him. So let's see what kind of assortment that we got here. Mr. Waddy, welcome. Good afternoon. Wait a second, it's not afternoon where you're at. It's not afternoon here, although it's bright enough to be afternoon. There's badges. You don't need no stinking badges, and you know that. All right, let's see who we got in this assortment. We got Captain Abs there. That's one of them. This guy is almost the same figure, but not quite. This one is the same figure. This guy is slightly different. These guys all have like a haircut like Mr. T. 3 of that guy. This one's different. This guy's got a javelin. I'm not going to use the javelin guys because all these other 4 guys also have javelins. So we'll mix a javelin guy with one of the ones that has One of the later ones. What's this? Another figure that's the same? No, this is the same as him. Here's the sort of leader. Who's this fellow? Here's another one that's the same as that one. So we have 3 of this one, 3 of this one, 2 of this one. This guy's a loner. 3, 3. All right, we're either going to grab this guy or this one. I'm tired of painting freaking shields. So we're going to paint one guy that doesn't have a shield on him. Okay, this is going to be our dude here. That will be the one that will go on the horse. All right, we're going to end up using them all, but Mr. Nordic, it's Abs Man. It's afternoon this stream. Like a fine Japanese sushi chef, he lines up his morsels ready to... Oh, hold on a second. I said that wrong. Like a fine Japanese sushi chef, he lines up his morsels ready to craft a masterpiece. Oh, well. Hopefully somebody won't get offended. If that stuff offends you, you need to just not even watch my feed anymore. Because I'm old school. We like everybody and we make fun of everyone. Just think of it like an old Bugs Bunny cartoon. And I had a really frustrating day today, so. All we need is one of those porn people to come, those people that came in the other day, porn peddlers, ban all their asses again. Did I get a free Forged and Battle catalog with me order? I didn't get jack shit with these guys, okay? As much as, and I don't need anything. I didn't get any packaging. I didn't get anything with them. I don't need it. I don't need a catalog, but it would have been nice to see what their packaging would look like. But with all the junk mail I get, you know, would it be too much to ask you to compare the Forged and Battle miniatures to Old Glory 15s? You're curious how they match up. Well, we can do that, but I can't do it with an Old Glory Hun guy. Just keep that in mind because I don't have any. There's a Byzantine guy hanging around here somewhere, I'm sure. Yep, here's some Byzantine horses. Do you have some Byzantine riders? I'd like to, you know, compare apples to apples. So here's a Byzantine horse. Comparing apples to oranges is useless. Let's see. If not, I can grab a painted guy. I'd rather not do that. Looks like I'm gonna have to do that. Damn it, man. Byzantine riders. One of these probably has a couple of Byzantine guys in it. Yeah, okay. Man, it's dark on that screen. This lighting is ideal for, let's see if I can turn this up a little bit. It's ideal for my painting, but not for photographing. And let's do this and add a little brightness. I know, now it's too much. Nah, tough titty. That's what it's gonna have to be. Okay, so let's put these guys on a stand. Let's see what we got. So these are some, it's a mix of things though, because this is a Byzantine horse. So this is a Byzantine horse. And I think they're compatible to be, you know, give you a short version. I think they would be compatible just fine. And you know, horses come in different sizes. they're damn near the same. And with figure, they're totally compatible. This guy's an Old Glory guy here on the end. Totally compatible. There's only a couple of instances that are really bad out of scale with some manufacturers. And, you know, if you're doing ancient period stuff, it's not too bad because, you know, you can make lances in different sizes. You can make javelins in different sizes. If you're talking about, you know, rifle armed troops, you know, they're not going to make these guys have rifles for toddlers. It's all going to be standardized equipment, you know, so that's going to be a little bit more of a problem. But when you're dealing with things that have, even all the mixtures of boss sizes that I had on the Byzantine army really didn't bug me too much. I actually don't even see it anymore. I think that the pros of having different figure manufacturers. Is this guy bare-chested? Looks like he is. Okay, that'll work. Just pay some muscles. This guy's got one of them silly Hun hairdos. And you know, when you're using, you know, different stuff that's made, you know, you can kind of justify a size difference and stuff a little easier. All right, let's unzoom. Hopefully that gave you. I think they're totally compatible. I think they're totally compatible. But then again, I'm pretty liberal when it comes to mixing things. So I don't know how other scales are, but I think 15 millimeter is all right. All right, I click it, but then it clicks back. The hell? There we go. Okay, now let's zoom out. There we go. They're getting a couple special units, Force Battle Cells, really nice, getting the bulk troops, Old Glory 15s. Huns kicking yo again. I don't know about all that. Forge and balance, also Macedonian cavalry. I think Hypaspists are really good too. Hypaspists. Say that 5 times fast. My only gripe with these guys is they are very brittle. And you can't straighten things out how you're normally used to. I popped the back of a bow, and unfortunately it's a figure that I only have one of, but I think I can, if I really want to use them, I can put some green stuff on them and rebuild it. So it's not a big deal, but I'd rather them be too hard than not hard enough, because the straightening them back every time you do it is that they bend is a problem. And I actually bought a set of files. I think files are useless for this scale. And I got really small ones, and you're better off just using an X-Acto knife. Or I prefer to use an X-Acto knife. You can use whatever you want. You know, I don't try to control people. Some guy got on here a couple times, said, you need to base in white. I said, well, you need to do what works for you. I'm not basing in white. I tried it a long time ago. It doesn't work for me. If you guys enjoy doing it and like the watercolors type look, I don't think it's very forgiving. It doesn't work for me. You know, as the Frenchman says, mind your own business. I don't try to control you guys. That's for short people. Try to tell little people what to do. Nope, I'm good. You do whatever you want. All right, that's going to be good enough for... I'm going to say government work, but I don't do government work. All right, this clown. All right, let's get a little base. Yep. And super glue, because I don't have to worry about them falling off. Some people use white glue. I don't trust white glue for anything. I have zero confidence in white glue. And I'm a pretty patient person, but I'm not waiting an hour for something to solidify. I got things to do. Let's just take some of this off. All right. Yep. I'm not interested in controlling people. If I did want to control people, I would just make everybody stop having ketchup. We can get that shit off the shelves. Where's Rick? He'd appreciate that. I've only bought Forged in Battle 50 mils for years now. Early German army to fight early Imperial Romans. I'm in the process of putting 101 50 millimeter condoms on tongue depressors. Yeah. Well, you know, these figures showed up too late. If they would have showed up 15 years ago, I would probably have more of them. But, you know, by the time they showed up on the scene, I either have to sell all my old figures that nobody wants, that I'm perfectly happy with. It's not like they were garbage to begin with. We'll let this set a little bit. Or, you know, you just have to be happy with what you have. You know, you constantly keep chasing the latest and greatest. You know, you're never going to be happy. I'm not a keeping up with the Joneses person. Now, in this case, I wanted other figure mixes. You know, I'm still using the old Gladiator figures, which I guess are pretty old, but honestly, for as old as those figures are, they hold up really, really well. Don't forget Rochambeau's French, so you can do Yorktown. Did I tell you that crazy shit I was going to do? I was thinking about doing? I don't know if I talked about it last night or whatever. I want to play this colonial game, and if I really like it, I don't think I will, but if I really like it, I might start painting some. We're going to call it 18. Remember that old game by Frank Chadwick called Space 1889? Mine would be Earth 1889. We don't give a shit about space or flying things, but you know, like a World War I, basically, that takes place in 1889 with every country for itself. But I would want to do it in a skirmish type thing, you know, because trying to figure out the basing for a game that you've never played is very difficult. So if you just do individual basing, it's not an issue. I think we're going to have to mix this stuff up, and we're going to have to let it harden, because this guy's kind of freeballing the way he sits up there. Let's get our little mix on here. You know, like, let's say, for instance, I was building these guys, okay, and I was going to do them, base them individually. The advantage I could have is I could just paint as many as I wanted to my heart's content, and then do the Forged in Battle guys to my heart's content, and don't care about who's on the same stand with everybody else, because nobody's on the same stand as anybody else. So how about an acknowledgement? For what? Battle of Trenton? That sounds like ACW. Not ACW, AWI. I've played only a handful of AWI games. we're going to have to let this set a little bit because you can see that this guy wants to twist immediately. So we're going to have to let this get hard a little bit. All right. Where did my it's down here. Man, I got too much. I don't know how you folks that have really crazy paint areas do it. I go nuts even with a little bit of chaos that I have here. As a matter of fact, while this is hardening up, I'm going to go ahead and put this shit away. There's a book from 1871 called The Battle of Dorking. Kind of fun with that. That's about Germans invading Britain after the Franco-Prussian War. Might be worth looking into for some ideas. Oh, I could tell you that I'd read it and I wouldn't. I got a couple of books on the successors that three books. Haven't read a single one of them. I'm bad about that. I got to play the game and see if I enjoy it. It may be too basic. It's a points game, which I have no interest in the points thing. I have no plans to ever play a quote-unquote tournament-style game other than DBA. And the whole reason for it is just I want to play with my own toys. I don't want other people to break my shit. And, it is the exception that people that destroy other people's stuff, but, I almost stopped going to conventions. Well, I did stop going to conventions for about 5 years. I had a bad experience with it. And it was only one person. Project completion date for the Huns? End of September. So, we should do fine on them. I've been banging them out, so. All right. Let me guess, it hardened too much? No, good. I love it when I'm wrong. Let that harden a little bit more. Because it goes from, oh, it's too wet to, too much. It needs to be fairly hard so we can, so this guy will have something to sit on. Because he likes to twist. Maybe this particular figure isn't a good match for this particular horse, but it's too late. We're already in mid-race. Finally got a chance to watch 55 Days at Peking. Finished it up today. Never seen it. Somebody decided to put it on YouTube in 4K, so it looked great. Honestly, I was expecting it to be better, but it is what it is. Had David Niven in it, so how bad could it be? Of course, Mitch will like it because it has Charlton Heston. Honestly, I'm not a fan of Charlton Heston. He's just kind of a one-trick pony, and doesn't mean I dislike him. Just doesn't do anything for me. But anyways, I didn't fall asleep during it, so that helps. All right, well, yeah, you twisty bastard. The other riders won't like this. It's all good. Let's read some comments then. Just say hello. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Sorry, everybody just piled in here. You don't need an introduction. You're here every night. Gonna run what if fights too. Yeah, the rules I'm talking about is Blood and Steel. The Blood and Plunder folks just came out with it recently, and it's set up for 28s. I would give up gaming before I paint 28s. I would give up all painting before I paint 28s. I'm just not going to live long enough and get enough of them painted. And by God, they're expensive. I thought they were, I mean, like a pack of like plastic figures is $41 freaking dollars for plastic figures. F that. F that. And you take up a lot of space, and most importantly of all, it's just going to take me too long to paint them. So $41 freaking dollars for plastic figures. And I don't have a love affair with 28s. I've never played 40K, so I'm not, some kid that grew up with 40K, and that's the scale that I know. I've painted one thing in 28s. That was probably 1987 when I painted that. All right, is this guy in place now? Don't twist on me, boy. Maybe this wasn't the right horse for him. Oh well. Keeps these figures from being perfect. No, I haven't used super glue in a long time. Yes, that's happened before, but hell, that probably hasn't happened since 1991 when we used Zapagat. Mm-hmm. Now, besides, I'd have to start back at square 10 if I painted 28s. There's people that are pro level painting. I just don't have the time for it. I end up spending 12 hours on a figure. Now the faces might be cool to do, but those people pay 28s and they use what, the 3 colors? Hell no. I use more than 3 colors on 15, so shit, I probably got to use 15 colors for 20. I just don't have time for that. And the cost, I didn't think the cost was that significant. Boy, was I wrong. Whew. All right, which guy's going to go? Which one are you going to paint first as a guinea pig? Let's do a guy that has something on his head. And the reason for that is these guys have a shaved head, which means there might be some stubble. I may have to tinker with that a little bit. Mr. Curry, welcome. So let's do this guy here, which looks like a freaking Mongol. All right. Color horse. Let's do a brown horse. Why not? It's the most common color. Where's my glue dude? Is he okay? All right, you're all right. Good. We'll paint him over the weekend. Super glued your fingers a full time. Flame Wars. Yeah, I don't use super. I used to use super glue a lot. I don't have. It's just I used to hate epoxy, and then I probably had epoxy. Had a bad childhood experience with epoxy, and meaning it didn't work. It didn't work really well. Never set properly, so I kind of used super glue for a while, and but really wasn't super gluing anything that had like a bunch of different parts on it. So I'm really happy with the epoxy now. It's like glue and forget. Never have to worry about it. Heston was a stooge for the NRA. Well, I don't like the NRA because they compromise. I mean, I don't think everybody should have guns, but us good guys should. That aren't crazy. That's discussion for another time, but you know, that's just kind of a hard topic, you know. I don't want the government telling me what to do, but then I know how to behave. So, you know, that's the problem, you know. I've said it before. If they got rid of all laws tomorrow, I'm not going to start driving 100 miles an hour and, you know, killing people, you know. Every actor is a stooge for somebody. Some are stooges for the NRA, and some are stooges for Red China. How about just go and act? You know, that's what we pay you for. You know, I don't need life lessons from somebody who's probably doing drugs. Inconceivable. He supposedly collected wargaming miniatures. I don't know about that. I don't know much about him. Just touching up the black spots that we may have missed. There's always a few. Just so they don't come glaring looking it back at you. Yeah, that's what I heard, that Henry Cavill collects and paints that. Yeah. Thanks for the basing trip. Well, I lifted him from the field of what is it? Flames of War site. The old minifigs are really, really small. Really, really small. I had no idea. Well, I have minifigs, and I like minifigs. But Mitch has a bunch of minifigs Napoleonics that we used the other day to play his Command in Colors Napoleonics. He did it with figures, and they're really, really small. I don't think they would be compatible with these 15s. I think they're just too small. I mean, they would be in their own units, but... All right. Let's go ahead and... We still have this shit on the end. I'll tell you what. we go. Did I have another one of these that was trouble? Maybe this one? Maybe this one. Nordic, you got so many ideas in your head, you don't even know what you're doing. You can't, Nordic, you can't be into everything. Jesus. Had an old friend whose wife superglued his groin while he was sleeping because he was a prolific womanizer. Funny story. I don't think that's very cool. I'm just saying, I don't think it's very cool that he's that way. You know, I don't condone that shit. That's some dishonorable crap. You know, you want to screw around on your wife? Get rid of her. You know, salt water will break down super glue. Take your bitch to the beach. Have it come unglued. Yeah. You can be into everything, but you never get anything done. Master of, what is it? Master of none? So I've come to the realization that, I don't know if I'm older. I don't think it's because I'm older. I think I'm tired of, I don't want any problems. I don't want any problems when I'm gaming. I don't get paid for problems when I'm gaming. And I just don't want to learn new rule systems. The other thing is we play at night on a day that the person's house I play out, he's been sitting around not doing a freaking thing all day long. So I'm burned out. So we were trying to look up rules for Command and Colors Napoleon. Mitch wanted me to play this scenario, right? So he had set it up. And he'd set it up. I thought he was going to kind of run it because I don't mind. I want to play by the rules, but until I have my foot in the door, I don't want to start reading rules without a frame of reference. So this is my first time playing Command and Colors Napoleonics. I played a couple games of the other Command and Colors a while ago, but I wasn't familiar with this one. I'm not going to just sit there and dive into a rule book at freaking 6 o'clock at night after I've been at work sunburnt for 12 hours. So I just don't have it in me anymore. It's not worth it, I'll just go home and paint, But yeah, I don't want to be the point man on any more rules. I don't know whether DBA's burned me out of it or I've just gotten older and isn't worth it. I'm more of a painter than I am a gamer. I mean, I can always turn on the computer and get some gaming if that's the objective, but yeah, I don't see myself like buying rules and just like, hey, let me learn how to play it and then teach everybody. So part of it is age, part of it is like it involves doing things that I have to do at work that I've had to do for many years that I don't want to do anymore, like explain shit to people and then people that don't listen to you because they're knuckleheads. So I've said it before, working on rules and stuff is not therapeutic. Painting is therapeutic. So I came back from Historicon with probably the most motivated I've been after a convention to paint more things. Than I remember ever. So To at least give me some credit. May have a lot of Drew ideas, but I don't buy the miniature show ideas. That's true. That's true. It's always good to daydream, and I do plenty of it as well. Yeah. And then when you buy them, you got to do something with them. But otherwise, that feels like shit. Or I don't like it anyways. How was Command and Colors Napoleonics? It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't very Napoleonic-y. I think Command and Colors is a fun game. It just doesn't feel like you're doing the stuff that you would be with the figures. There's a guy I know he has a PhD. Well, he says he does. I don't know why. I don't doubt people. I don't assume that people are liars. I mean, I'm not a liar, so I'm many things. A liar is not one of them. I just take people for what they're word. But anyways, he says he's a PhD, and he got his PhD in history PhD, and he got it in some kind of Napoleonic studies. And he's a war gamer, and he says he does not play Napoleonic games. And I understand that. I get it. You know, it's going to have the kind of what he's going to enjoy. Just no rule system's going to bring him that. They're always going to feel like it's some kind of a compromise. So it's kind of the same way I feel about World War II. You know, it's got to have click all the boxes, or I'll play another period. There's no way I'd play a World War II game where, you know, Americans and British are fighting each other like flames of war. It's just like, that's absurd to me, you know. So, back in the 80s, used to game with a bunch who would change wargaming periods before I could field painted units. Very frustrating. Yeah, I wouldn't play with them. You know, that's just crazy. Back in the 80s, I was wargaming with G.I. Joes, Transformers, and Legos. Visited the emergency room at 2 a.m. Must have been something. After I get through these AWIs, pretty much all the measures painted. I can start project or two. No guilty conscience. Yeah. I've bought shit before, and it's been many years. Well, I'm not going to paint all these Huns, but I want to have the option to. It's not like I'm in 28 millimeter and they're $41 freaking a pack. Holy crap! I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that. Well, they're also very big packs, so you know. Like I was looking at doing some Old Glory. The problem with the Old Glory is that the stuff that I looked at was 50 figures in a pack. And you know you're not going to want just one pack of something. You're going to want like 3 or 4 to mix them in. So now you're talking about like $60 freaking for it. It's like, man, I don't know. Hopefully I won't like this rule set. I just want to paint something a little different. I'm really affected by seeing games that look a certain way, and I want to play a game that looks like that. Empire 2. Oh, I've heard stories about Empire 2. There'll only be a few things I play in 28. I'll play Lord of the Rings, strategy battle game, Burrows and Badgers, Frostgrave, maybe Malifaux. Those games have one thing in common. I've never heard of them. Not needing a ton of miniatures, so it's like 15 per side. Very doable. 200 pages plus was Empire 3. It just isn't worth it. I mean, I think the thing is just you pick something that's really basic and then something you can add other rules to as you get the more concept things. Not like all of a sudden, like just jump in and, it's everything from, you know, simple stuff and like nuclear weapons. It's just too many rules at once, and it's really unpleasant to not get things right. At least it bothers me tremendously. It's like, oh, it's another asterisk, another game that doesn't really count because you didn't play it correctly. It's just frustrating. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, let me play it wrong on purpose, see what I can get away with. That's just unsatisfactory. But as I've gotten older, I'm just like, some things aren't worth it. Like, I have no problem playing those big. Remember those old Europa games? I'd never play one of them now. I would just put it on computer. I don't have a problem with counters, but I want to like snap my fingers and it's set up, and then you play and then you save it and play it again, that kind of stuff. But setting up hours to set up a game and then you have nowhere to put it, and then you're playing with people that fumble and knock down stacks of stuff. That's like, nah, work's too frustrating to be, to deal with that on your spare time. Maybe if you work for the post office or something and all you're doing is stamping things back and forwards. Like, there was that librarian in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. That's all she was doing, was just stamping books. Maybe if that's all you're doing, you can handle a little bit of frustration and challenge when you're doing something that's fun. But today should have been an easy day, and it was just a crazy ass. It was just stupid today for no reason whatsoever. So at least I don't have the it's a pain to game with these people problem, It's not a people problem like some of you guys sometimes do. Like, oh, we'll have a good time unless Josh shows up. What's wrong with Josh? Oh, he always gets in arguments, or he throws shit, or, whatever. I don't have those kind of issues like I hear some of you guys have. Some guy throws a die across the room and gets angry and just a game, asshole. I've heard the stories. I actually know of two people that I have played at shows with. They're not part of my local group. That were problems. And meaning they were a problem for me, and they were a problem with other folks learning the game. And one of them died. Take that. And then another guy stopped playing. Perfect. Now you don't run people out of our hobby. There's not enough of us that are. You want to run people out of the hobby, make sure they're an asshole first, then run them out. But not nice folks, man. There's not enough people that are nice that don't smell bad, You remember when Old Glory 15 millimeter pulling eyes for $10 a bag over 100 figures infantry, 30 cavalry. I do too. And those Old Glory Napoleonics were sculpted by my hero. I can't do Napoleonics. Mitch and them have too many of them. There's no need for me. But my hero sculpted other things. So that's as much as I disliked the American Civil War. I can't play American Civil War in public. I'd have too much fun playing Confederates, making their silly ass voices. But all those 15 millimeter American Civil War stuff is sculpted by you know who. So there's an incentive, and they're gorgeous figures. I mean, they're unbelievably gorgeous figures. As good as these figures are just as good. The problem is I like his poses. I love Alsop's poses. These figures have a lot of character too. $15 millimeter assembly line. Yeah, it doesn't really work for me. I lose interest. I think I'm quicker, but I just lose interest. That's why I like the idea of individual basing. Okay, I got this guy done. You know, we can add him to the thing. We'll see. We'll find out in a couple months when I play that. I watched the demo. It may end up being too basic for me. And, you know, realize that it's not all that's made out to be. Need a little bit more highlighting, and then we should be good with this. Where are we working over here? Okay. Yeah, the problem with the assembly line is I like the round. I like a round stand, so I can twist it around and get everywhere. And what I dislike the most is picking up the stand, picking up another one. So I like to stay on the same guy. I just find it's very fumbly, and I don't necessarily have dexterity issues, but I don't care for it. But hey, whatever works for you. Men in Black movie portrayed U.S. postal workers as aliens. Did you watch my walk around video on the USS North Carolina where I come across the post office? It's like, hey, there's nobody here. It's moving almost the same speed as if it was manned with people. I'm not anti-government. I'm just anti-incompetence. I've been trying to learn from you. Paint smaller amounts. You know, the whole thing is it is more efficient to paint many figures at once. I did Romans. One of my Roman armies, I did like whole units at once. The problem is you sit down for 4 hours and you don't have anything to show for it. And the next time you sit down for 4 hours, or at least 4 hours for me, nothing to show for it again. Nothing to show for it the next time. It's not until like the 8th or 9th time that it's like, bam, I got 24 guys done. And it's just hard to stay on track and not be discouraged, you know? So, hey, whatever works for you. I need to do it this way for me to stay on track and not be like, F this. You know, I want to do something else. I'm bored, you know? Okay, so this guy is mostly wearing a big old jacket. All right. And this is going to have some brownish type drab color. Oh, what about this color right here? Green brown. Let's start with this one. Most people do the tongue depressor thing, seems like. You know what I'd use tongue depressors for? If I had to do it again, navel. And I'd make the front round, and then the back would be square. I would totally use, well, I've done my 6,000 scale ships. I like how those look. That was that British guy. Yes, Dave Alsop. Apparently there's no picture of him either. I'd create a shrine for him. No, I don't know. It might have been a dickhead in real life. I don't know. I just loved his style. You know, when we used to go down to Tampa in the early 90s, I came across his 20 millimeter figures that he did that were called at the time, they were called combat miniatures, and he sculpted them, and I fell in love with them, you know, and from my World War II skirmish, and absolutely love him, his sculpting. and then realized that, you know, he did other things. And by the time I realized he did them, I mean, let's see, he supposedly died in the early 90s, so he was probably already dead by the time I discovered him. So, and I think, you know, the thing is he died, supposedly he died in a car accident. I want to say I read somewhere that he was working on a vehicle and it rolled on him. I just couldn't have made that up because that's just really strange, but I can't find the reference to it anymore. You know, like, I don't know whether it wasn't chalked up properly or something like that, but I learned from his example whether or not that really happened or not. I don't dare get underneath a vehicle. I just, you know, I got a lot of shit I got to freaking paint. I'm no good to me dead. Anthony Barton was the sculptor of AB Battle Honors before that. Now, the AB figures, I would say, are probably, from what I have seen, some of the most realistic looking figures. They look like I used to do 1/35th scale stuff. They would not be war gamey looking. They're realistic shaped. And while I like that, I actually prefer a little cartoony. That doesn't mean I don't like AB figures. I've actually never painted any. I have some Tank Crewman 20 millimeter scale. I've just, you know, one of those things that I bought and shouldn't have bought. But it's not knocking AB. They're very realistic looking. You know, but for every scale that you do, there's always manufacturers that you like, and there's ones that you don't like. And back in the days of the miniatures page, and back when I used to do 20 millimeter skirmish, there was this company that was prolific and is the Essex of 20 millimeter. Actually, there's two Essex of 20 millimeter. And by Essex meaning, Essex makes everything in 15, right? Or at least for ancients and medieval. Or they make most everything. And in 20 mil World War II, there was two companies that did that. And I didn't like either one of them. And one of the companies was called Britannia. And Britannia, actually, I liked their sculpting style, but they were stumpy looking. They had really big heads. And their head had a lot of detail on it, like it would paint up well, but it was always the same face. It was like, for instance, if you had a figure that looked like Willem Dafoe, right? Willem Dafoe's kind of an unusual looking person. You don't see people like him on the street very often. Lucky for the people on the street. But you do not want your entire army that looks like Willem Dafoe. And it was kind of that type of thing. It's a very unique character with prominent features, and every single person, whether they were a desert rat or a Russian commissar, had exactly the same face on them. But they were prolific. I mean, they made everything in it. Gun crews, machine gun guys, desert rats. I don't know if they made Japanese, but Japanese would be silly having that face too. But anyhow, I didn't care for them because of that. And then the other company that was also prolific is a company called MLR slash Figures of Armor and Artillery, FAA. And they had cheekbone issues, okay? So all their figures had a very same type of face, very, very prominent cheekbones. And it's so much like they made a set for Cross of Iron. Remember the movie Cross of Iron with Sergeant Steiner and you know, Demarcation, you know. And you know what I'm talking about. Well, they had a character pack that came with like 4 or 5 guys, including like the Hungarian guy that was all dirty. And anyway, so it came with the 5 guys, but all 5 of them looked the same because they had that same cheekbone face. If I didn't have to dig through, you know, the world to get to them, I'll show them to you. But you know, so I would avoid those. Like, now I have painted some of them, but I'm not a fan of them. Best historical sculptor ever. Anthony Barton was British. That's okay. Are all the best sculptors British? They may be. I think all the best painters are. All my favorite painters are, Mm, I I got a guy who's one of my favorite painters, and he's not British. But by and large, the people that are in Britain paint better than the people in the U.S. At least I like them more. Now, you have to judge it by things that I see, because you met Alsip. He was excellent. Met him at Historicon back in '82. Give him a hug for me. Shit. I'm his biggest fucking fan. I tell you right now. Good. I'm glad he was an excellent guy. Yeah. Brilliant. And I look at guys and I'm like, yep, that's one of his castings. That's how his hands look, or that's how his rifles look. So, anyhow. I didn't even hear about Historicon until 2005. I'm down here. Why would we hear about Historicon? And the internet was still in its kind of infancy. I mean, it was still, I mean, I didn't have a computer till '99, but you didn't have. People bitch about Facebook. Facebook is the freaking best thing for our hobby. It really is. I know some of you guys don't go on Facebook for whatever reason. I get it. But it just allows people to share information and photos real easy from phones, from computers. You could contact people directly. Skip all the politics and all the horse shit and all that kind of stuff. But it's a really good format. It's better than emailing, where you send an email to 20 people and one guy responds, and then the other person doesn't look at the response. They respond, so you're always like you're kicking the same can down the road. Your French Old Guard and Middle Guard Napoleonics are ABs. Yeah, I like the ABs. I like the AB stuff. All of Joel's Napoleonics, I believe, are AB. You know who's also really similar to AB is Eureka. Some of their Eureka guys actually may be Anthony Barton's sculpts. They're because Anthony Barton he has a very distinct face, but it's a very subdued face, just like the minifigs are. So it's a face that works with everybody. You can have your whole army that looks like that, because it's kind of, it's not a domineering face. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I like his faces a lot. This double-sided tape may not work for holding miniatures on these sticks. Yeah, some people use white glue. I just have no confidence. Like, how long do you wait for it to set? That's why I just use a drop of super glue, and then you just get underneath it and just pop it up. I don't use super glue for things that are permanent. It just doesn't. It has no tensile strength. So as soon as it starts to move a little bit, it cracks and you've got no grip at all. Facebook, almost never look at my news feed, go straight to various war games group. Me too, Dirk. 15mm Russian Napoleonics are Essex. Too short and fat for starving Russians. They look funny against my old glory 15mm French. Essex stuff is all over the place. Some of their guys are like stumpy, and some of them aren't. At least the guys I have. I don't have any Napoleonics, so I can't really comment on that. But they're a mixed bag. I have a bad opinion of Essex if I'm buying them in an army pack. If I get to pick who's in what, I'm pretty happy with them, honestly. I'm pretty happy with them. But I want to pick who's in my damn army. I want to buy the packs individually. Let's put it that way. Not like, oh, you're stuck with, we make 4 poses, but we gave you 3 of one and then 1 of another, so you don't have the variety that you may need, So I don't mind spending the extra cash and getting the folks that I want to paint. So I don't know if there was any sculptors at Historicon this year. I may not go next year. We may go to Europe instead. We'll see. I know I'm not going to run any DBA up there. They can go fly a kite. I'll play other shit. I'll do videos. Those videos that we did at the convention, we'll be doing those at all our shows. Those were a lot of fun to do. And they basically required no editing. So, you want me not to get burned on stuff, don't make me edit anything. And it's not the editing per se. It's when you start editing it, it makes the file a lot more complicated, which causes the processing time to just skyrocket. It's not the editing part. The editing part's actually kind of fun to do. It's the, okay, this is how I want it. All right, crunch it. The crunching takes forever. So, you know, the poor bastard that does the videos for Little Wars, that guy's in a world of torture. Because they have real professional videos, which takes a lot of crunching to do. I can't spend that kind of time doing that. I won't get any painting done. I can paint. I don't need to be spending time doing videos. That's for them, they're non-painters. That'd be a good thing for Mitch to do since he doesn't paint. But he's even more technologically challenged than I am, so. I don't do Facebook anymore. I had a client who bought an advertising using my credit card from Facebook. Really? I don't use email. I don't use personal email. It's a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass. Nobody listens. Nobody listens to each other. I rarely check personal email. I just said Facebook because it's the latest thing. I mean, you know, maybe in 10 years it's something else. My only gripe with Facebook is if you see something that you like maybe you open up a page and it's like, oh, I like that. I want to go down the rabbit hole on that thing, and that thing. So you go down one rabbit hole and you go back, and the thing you were just at, if you don't remember what it was posted on, you'll never find it again. Because of this, the sorting order is just messed up. And that's my only real gripe with it. But it's easy to post things from your phone, and I use my phone more than my computer. You burnt him, though, and tracked him down at the stake. Burn him at the stake. What was the name? You had a client who bought an advertising using your credit card. But that wasn't cheap. I don't have any clients. Can't happen to me. No clients. Was it somebody who maybe he thought you overcharged him and said, I'll get you. I'll buy an advertising with your credit card. Aha! Oh, yeah, charge me $200 an hour. I'll get you back. Did I make videos of your DBA games at Historicon? I did not. It would have been too loud. And if I'd known that the turnout was so poor, we probably could have. Well, if I would have known the turnout would have been so poor, I wouldn't have even run. I wouldn't have even run. And it wasn't that we didn't have a good time. It was just, I felt like we were held hostage by our schedule. And literally, other than the people that, I knew everybody that played. One guy was from Canada. That's not true. Guy was just passing through from Australia. He played a couple of the rounds. But, that was the whole thing. Is like, I just felt like we couldn't leave, Yes, this one is a new Hun. So the problem we have with videos now is we got too many people that show up. It's the opposite problem at Historicon. We had 5 people the other night. So if it's over 4, not filming. This is not going to be able to film, It's just too difficult. So the filming of games may be few and far between for the foreseeable future because we just have too many people show up. I mean, the alternative is just say, fuck you, you can't show up. I guess you could do that, but that's not very friendly. I mean, it is a social game first. We make videos second. So, screw you, you can't show up. So, Mitch has got to be there, right? Because it's his house. I got to be there. It won't be filmed. Okay, so now we're up to 2. We can only have 2 more. If Joe comes in from Jacksonville, that's 3. And he's consistently been coming in. Randy comes in, that's 4. All right, nobody else. All right, well, Scott's there. Well, now you got 5. Or it's the week for Marty to come in. Now you got 6. Or, Volcano Joe or whatever comes from... Don Harding comes from Jacksonville. Now you're up to 7. It's just very hard. And it's very difficult to plan in advance who's going to be there, Which is why I don't like playing games that have involved planning. I don't like Big Battle DBA or something like that because you can't even plan who's going to be at our freaking game thing. I can plan, but other people can't. So, we will make videos when we can make videos, and when we can't make videos, we won't make videos. All I can tell you is it's fun to make videos, and I prefer them to be filmed than not because really interesting things happen, and it would be a shame to not share the insanity with other folks. So, it is what it is, We generally have twice as many people that show up on a weekly basis to play than did at Historicon. You heard rumors of Don coming. Yeah, don't hold your breath. He's one of those people that they retire and you see him less often. I'll tell you one thing. If I game less often when I'm retired, fuck that. I'm not retiring. What's the whole point? I'm going to war game. I'm going to do my hobby more when I'm retired, or I'm not going to retire. What's the point? You know? Your work was honest and good. Your client was not. There's dirtbags everywhere. There's dirtbags everywhere. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go ahead and do this guy let's do this guy in the face. Do him in the face. Do his face. Does this guy have eyes? No, they're not bulging. Good. I'm not opposed to doing it, but you know, I mean, first of all, they're kind of Asian anyway, so they shouldn't have popped out eyeballs. Some of these guys do, which really at this scale, none of them should have it. But this guy's got bulging eyeballs. I gotta paint him. Oh, it's gonna look even weirder. You hate dishonest people. Yep, I don't like people that talk out of both sides of their mouth. If you meet me, I'm the same asshole that I am on here. It's too difficult to try to be two different people. I'll be right back. I don't like people that talk out of both sides of their mouth. I don't like people that are one way around their wives, and then when their wife isn't around, they're somewhere different. It's just too difficult to pretend to be somebody you're not. Maybe people that try to pretend somebody maybe they don't like who they are. I like who I am. Never felt good about all the games I hosted at Historicon, Cold Wars, and Fallen. Barely even want to go to cons. You've been burnt too many times with gamers in this hobby. Well, you don't think you'd like to... You see our games. You know if you're a good fit. I've actually had 2 people that have come in from out of state, and they were awesome folks. But, you know, our game's on display, so, you know, you can decide, are you a good fit for us? We're not going to change for you. There's hundreds of videos. You know what you're expecting, you know. If you're somebody who gets offended easily, you probably don't want a game with us. We make fun of just about everything. It's all good-natured. You know? If you want to game with us and you're worried about your pronouns, probably wouldn't be a good fit. That's one thing too far. I think the difference is that I don't know if I can speak for everybody in the group. I'll speak for myself. You gotta understand when things are luck. And sometimes things just don't go your way and your dice just doesn't want to, behave, and, shit happens. And, I've won games when that happened to the other guy too. So, luck is luck, Think you'd mesh well with you and Mitch in a game. We'll see about that. The gamers up here just bug me. I don't like most gamers. And it shouldn't surprise some of you, because some folks just have the social skills of an armadillo. And I'm not saying that I'm the coolest guy around, but, it is a social game, It is about the people. It is about the history, but it is about the people that you play with. That's about as kumbaya as I'm going to get. But it is about the people, and there's an honor code of how you behave yourself. There's an honor contract, And just because a lot of people don't have honor doesn't mean you need to fall for that as well. I like to play serious, but not be serious, if that makes any sense. Pencil Ducky. Pennsylvania doesn't border Kentucky. Just a redneck version of Pennsylvania, huh? That's the problem with playing a Historicon, for instance. If you sign up for games in advance, unless you know the person running the game and know the kind of people that they bring it up, you don't know what kind of a game it is. You don't know what the other crowd's going to be. You don't know if his setup is if you're going to like his setup. I mean, maybe it's like a really cool game, but then he's like uses felt and his stuff looks not so good, You call Western Pennsylvania Pennsyltucky. Do you use funny words for things like yints guys, and you come from that place that has all the messy sandwiches? Pennsylvania, highest concentration of old people in the USA, even more than Florida? Well, I don't see very many old people every day. So I guess it depends where in Florida. Okay, let's do the fleshy bits. I'm almost gonna have to kick this one to the curb and start using a different. You know what? I'm gonna do it because this one's already collecting a bunch of this lint. Let's just kick this to the curb. Age group. I was always the youngest guy in my group. Always. I'm not Scott's younger than me. Mitch is what, 3 years older than I am. Joe's half a year older than me. Not right, Joe? Half a year or something like that. I think you're a 70. I'm a 71. Don's not much older than me. He just looks like he's 20 years older than me. Where's the extra thingies? Hi, mama. I hope it's not over here in the zone. You know, everything's really organized except that. I don't really care for how that's played out. It's that area I can't reach easily. Here's another one of these. No, I'm gonna cut the top. Get it out through there. I said I was going to paint till 9:30, but I don't think I'm ready to quit. Phone number. I still win at DBA. Nah. You know, I use my phone for phone calls the least. It's basically a portable internet. It's kind of a strange fit that I even play this game. Just kind of happened. It's basically the thing that was the driving force the most is I want to play with my own stuff. And I don't want to worry about other people ham-fisting my figures. So I got to play something that's not a lot of troops. And you can pretty much get away with people not touching your shit. Because I almost stopped going to shows because I don't, people ham-fisting my stuff. You can't punch people in the frickin' face, This one dirtbag at one show in 1996. I stopped going to shows for 6 years. All right, we need to put more water on this thing. Be right back. But you play DBA with people that you normally play with or folks that are used to the system. You don't have to explain the rules every time you play. You can just start rolling dice. You don't have to put on a game, explain the rules to people that showed up for the first time, that may not enjoy it, that never play again. I mean, I'm burning my time, you don't get paid to do this. So other people want to do that, that's fine. I do not enjoy that as... I don't call that a pleasant experience. And then on top of that, you got to worry about them breaking your shit. So that's why I play this stupid game, because, could it be better? Yeah. But just about every other game I've played is worse, for me anyways, The temp was over 100 with the humidity. Oh, well, we have it 100 and not even counting the humidity. It's fun trying to walk in the heat. Yeah. Pennsylvania's beautiful. I mean, I'll tell you what, though. The thing I dislike the most about Historicon? It's right across from that freaking square where every loon stands out there. There's either a freaking protest or I'm in North Central Florida. I'm like an hour I'm an hour by the way the crow flies north of Orlando. So I'm kind of equidistant between Jacksonville, Tallahassee, and Orlando. You want my exact coordinates of my house? You can pay me a visit? We're in Florida. We'll shoot your ass if you come through the door. No, and I've been lived here since '81. So the bad thing, well, there's lots of bad things about this place. The worst thing is people are just transient. You know, I'm not Central Florida. You've been to Orlando once, yeah. You probably went in the summer too. Bad idea. Orlando's good in like February or January. Yeah, that square right across from the hotel. There's always somebody protesting. I went out for lunch one of the days. There was some guy like, "You're all gonna burn in hell," and just shut the f up. I mean, was that you're always there's always somebody on a crusade. That's the problem. I'm an anti-crusader. You know. If I'm so worried about going to heaven, like, why do I have to have other people like steal some virgins for me? Like, why can't I have them all to myself? Why you got to be like so worried about sharing? And like, I want to go up there and I want to make sure lots of people are up there with me. Like, just leave people alone, man. Went in July and it rained for like 10 minutes every day. Yeah, no. Your Mensa membership is still good. Okay, I don't know what that's in reference to, but there's a guy I used to play with. He's probably Mensa, right? That's nice. Day one at Historicon, he already smelled of BO. I'd rather be a little dumber than that guy, right? Guy's a little too specialized. So, these Kasparov type intelligence people, I'm not one of them, don't want to be one of them. I'm artsier. Yeah, you didn't decide. I know when you're a kid, you got to go. Like when I was a kid, we'd only went to those parks like once a year. And my dad always had to have a sit-down breakfast. So we didn't get them until like noon. I go there now, I'm at the freaking place before it opens. And you leave early. You at least have 2 or 3 hours where it's not insane full of people. And you don't go at the insane time of the year. Walt Disney was a very flawed man. I don't know anything about his history. I know he'd slap the living shit out. If he was still alive, he'd slap the shit out of the people that are running it down there right now. I'm not a huge fan because I like rides, and that's not a ride place. They're not heavy on the rides. Maybe this guy does have eyes. Son of a bitch. Well, maybe we don't have to paint them. I don't like to paint them because no matter what you do, they're going to be oversized. Maybe if you saw a rattlesnake, I don't worry about famous people with flaws because I don't really have any heroes other than Dave Alsop. He's my only hero. So, the less I know about him, the better. Find out he's a communist or something like that. I'm glad you said he was a nice guy. That's good. But no, I literally have no heroes. I don't have people that I worship that's like, well, I'll make exceptions to their morality or some shit like that. You love roller coasters, suffered from severe whiplash, complications that I don't believe I can ride anymore because of the sun jarring. Well, that sucks. I love them. But as you get older, you can't ride them 7 times in a row like you used to when you were a kid. Only 3 times in a row. I know several people, though, that don't go on roller coasters. And I think it's very ironic because they'll watch horror movies. They'll watch horror movies, but they won't go on roller coasters. Like, I'm the opposite. I don't watch horror movies. Maybe that's why it's strange for me, because it's the opposite. Also, the other irony is people that like ketchup but hate tomatoes. You have drones. What's your coordinates? We can shoot those things down. Have a tank. Drones can't do anything. Wouldn't that would suck wargaming 50 years from now? You do modern stuff and there's no tanks or vehicles. It's all just like people and drones. Like that sucks for wargaming. That's no fun. Does this guy have like a mustache? You got like a Chu Man Fu? Yes, I said it that way on purpose. IB waterbed suck for you, Jeremy. Yeah, you get motion sickness, so no rise or torture. I obviously do not get motion sickness. And the perfect example I can think of is my wife a couple of years ago decided to get us an Oculus. For those of you guys that don't know what an Oculus is, it's that VR thing. And I'm like, it's not going to look very good. Don't go by the videos. It actually looks pretty freaking good. Up front was fun. I like riding all the way in the back. That's where you get more G's. It actually works really well. And there's a flight simulator that's come out that I actually have two of them. I have a World War I and a World War II one. And if you don't get motion sickness from that, you're good to go. You know what? I'm good to go. I don't get motion sickness from it at all. Because it's pretty intense. But it's also pretty freaking cool because it's not intense from the standpoint that it is like an action movie where there's too much stuff going on. It's actually okay. It's intense because you could be like in a turn and you can now look ahead of you obviously have right in front of you, if you've ever played a flight simulator, where your dials are and your sight picture, your reticle there is for your guns. But you can now look up farther ahead and see what hasn't appeared yet in your sights, but is going to, like you'd be able to in real life. Or, you pass somebody, you can look down and see, it's pretty freaking cool. But yeah, if you've got motion problems, you're screwed, that's not going to work for you. But, everybody's got different stuff they can deal with. I don't like getting on an actual aircraft. I think it's freaking, I don't get airsick or anything. I'm just like freaking paranoid. I had a bad experience when I was a kid, and I do not like flying. I'll fly, but, let the whiskey floweth, I don't get airsick. I'm nervous as shit with turbulence. And you have people that'll fly and fall asleep on a plane, and then they go on a cruise ship and they get, seasick. Well, I don't get freaking seasick on a cruise ship. That's how my freaking ancestors got the fuck over here, It's in my blood. So everybody's got, a different skill set or, stuff they have. Some people are good at abstract math. Some of us aren't. Some of us don't ever get lost. Other people can't get out of their neighborhood, you know. Some people are super, super smart and can plan 6 moves ahead, but then they can't wear deodorant, you know. Different specializations. So I told Mitch that suggestion you guys made the other day. I think it was Kevin. It may not have been Kevin. Maybe it was somebody else that said, you know, when Mitch surpasses me, he's got to wear socks and shoes. I told him. I'm gonna hold him to it. You know, I'm not wearing shoes right now, but I'm inside my house. I'm not in a shed outside my, you know. I'd wear shoes out there. I don't wear shoes inside the house. I mean, you know. Hey, I wear deodorant, damn it. Yep. They make it in everybody's size. It's not like what? They don't make it in your size? I mean, I don't know what you look like, Nordic, but they make bikinis in your size. I'm not suggesting you wear one, but I'm just saying, you know, if you know they make a bikini in your size, they definitely make deodorant in your size. Stick with ancients, Tony. World War III will be fought with spears and stones. Yeah, well, I don't even watch the news that's going on now. That conflict still going up there? I don't know. I'll find out about it when it comes over here. How did Mitch do in the game with Randy? Randy lost again. Randy painted a new army. It was beautiful and went 0-3. Took a flight once, had some vertigo-like issue where it felt like plane was turning the whole time. Had to lean my head to one side of my shoulder to make it feel normal. That sucks, man. Not going to happen. Bikini wearing, that is. Good. Well, that was wet. All right, quicker picker-upper. Solved. The problem with airplanes for me is the pressure is murder on my ears from having ear problems as a kid. But at least you can hear, right? Didn't you say you had tubes or whatever? I didn't do that for me. I can't hear with a shit. I actually haven't. I want to say when I was a kid, the pressure would bug me, and I don't know. Maybe I just didn't swallow stuff back then. I'm always swallowing when I'm on a plane, whatever the hell that means. Hey, I make the joke. I don't give a shit if it's self-deprecating. No, but you know, gum or something like that. Just have some gum to chew on. Pressurize. I really haven't had much of a problem. You can hear okay? Yeah, I can't. Especially highs. Especially when you do those tests. You know, a really high-pitched one. If I sit here in the quiet, I can imagine it and pretend to hear it, you know. So I'll watch everything with subtitles. So I don't, you know, blow the doors off stuff. The problem with that is you turn the volume up high enough, anything you're watching, And the freaking music in the background is way... I cracked it on me. You didn't have a chance. Oh, man. The opportunity only presents itself at an instant. You got to jump on it. Yeah, if you turn up the volume too high, when it swings to the music is way too loud. Oh my, just had a wet pallet disaster. Cat jumped on my lap and swiped her tail across the pallet. That's a problem I don't have. I got Chinese neighbors. No cat problems here. Just kidding. I don't have pets. It's bad form when you don't give me a shot to crack the jokes, damn it. You need to be slower. There's too much. You need to be faster. It's too much of a delay. There's some kind of a delay on here, unfortunately. It is what it is. It be what it is. Like the Chinese neighbor thing, huh? We make fun of all that stuff. If you can't deal with it, you need to get some thicker skin, man. I actually did have, true story. I had a Chinese neighbor. He wasn't like right next to me, but he was across the street. And he burned his own house down. I'll get to that. But he had a daughter the same age as my daughter. So when they were little, they'd go to the pool. I'd sit there and talk to them. And at that time, I think I had just gotten built the terracotta army. And I was talking to him about it. And just typical, just because you're from another country, people don't know anything about their own history, no matter where they're from. I think that's a kind of a uniform. It doesn't matter where you're from. People just, you got some people that know it and some people that just don't. And I started to talk to him about it. And he's like, I said, I asked him, what's your name? Oh, you can call me Mark. I said, come on, what's your real name? So he told me what his name was, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I tried to pronounce it how it is, and, I said, hey, I'm really interested in Chinese history and about this kind of stuff. And one time he introduced me to his wife, said, oh, this is Tony. He knows more about our history than we do. And I'm like, why don't you know about your own? I mean, just imagine if, like, Asian history was written with our alphabet. Then you may not know the words, but at least you could kind of figure it out, but it's just the characters. I can't do that at all. But yeah, he was a pretty cool guy. He moved away, but I never forget what he said. This guy, Tony, knows more about our history than we do. But I mean, I think that's common no matter. You just assume that you go to England, they know about the castle that's right there. They're dumbasses that watch reality shows over there too, It's just a select few of people. But yeah. Everything's fair game to be fun of. There's only two things I don't make fun of. And I'm not going to tell you what they are, but I'm not going to go into one of them. Know the history of our country. Hope so. Humor solves a lot. It does. And people used to laugh about stuff, There's only two things I'm not going to joke about. On the air. And if you guess them, I'm still not telling you what they are. I know the history of our country. Again with the picking on England. What's wrong with England? I just pick on their lack of teeth. I don't pick on them about anything else. I actually stand up for them. 10th worst civilization ever. These folks. Bullshit. And we fought those jokers 600 years ago. And so do I. Now I'll have to remember Europe, Asia. Yeah. Well, they're better than the Russians. They're always better than the Russians. Always. Always. I'm with you on that one. Always. I don't, I don't know that I've ever played the British in a war game. I don't know that I've ever played the British in a war game where I would consider the British the bad guys. Even if I'm doing colonial stuff. Yeah. And I'm not an Anglophile. I'm not anti-England. I mean, that's the land of toys, for God's sakes. What's a conflict where the English are the bad guys? I don't know. I haven't played one. Maybe there is one. Maybe if you're doing something like, oh, come on. Why is this so freaking watery all of a sudden? Are these figures bad luck? Not like I can't fix this. It's just, it's annoying. All right. I'm going to dry this shit out. Right. Let's go here. Let's go here. All right. We'll do this dry. That's too dry, damn it. That's not what she said, Tony. Shit, I don't know what that was in reference to. And when I mean British, I mean the island French. We're going to do this dry. Oh, nice. It's a dry run. How can you have the runs and it be dry? Exactly. All right. I don't like these figures, and I'll tell you why. They're too good. There's too much pressure to paint them well. Oh, man. This guy's got a lot of freaking detail on his face. Like a lot. Man, if you don't like painting faces, these are the wrong faces for you to paint. So I wonder what's delayed for you guys. Your response? Are you getting the feed at the same? Are you getting the the speech at the same time as you get the action, or is it just your delay time on when your comment comes in? I think it's that. I think you guys are getting the right timing on the feed. I don't know, it's weird. Maybe that delay's in there, so if I go and grab a shotgun or something like that and blow my head off, there's the people that are the Chinese, whoever that are watching it, can turn the feed down before you guys see it. I don't know. There's actually been instances of that happening. Well, that's why I brought it up. No, we need to add more white to this. It needs to stand out more. Delays or response time of typing the comment. No, there's I was on with somebody a while back and there's like a 30-second delay. That sucks, but it's what happens when it's free, This guy looks like you don't want him to come visit your hut if you have a daughter. How do I paint eyes on 15 millimeter minis? Well, I can't show you on this one, but mind if I draw it for you? Let me finish this guy and I'll show you. I'll show you what's worked for me in the past. And it's not how I started doing it. And it's actually quite easy to do once. I'm sure I read somebody did this idea and I tried it and I'm like, okay, well, this works. Just like when I was doing 1/35th scale tanks, I hated doing figures because of their faces and stuff like that. So let me violate my cardboard even more. Let's make sure. It's not there, it's here. Okay. So you have an eye area that's molded on the figure, like it's three-dimensional. So that's where you have to put the freaking eye, right? So what I do is I try to do it after this whole area, like let's say you've got a nose or something like that here. Okay, you got another eye over here. It's irrelevant. Everything is coated in that really dark brown, right? So you've got everything's brown, and then you come in and just put a white oval like this, and that covers that area. Don't get crazy. Make sure it's kind of dry so it doesn't go back in there. And then when you come and paint the eye, don't try to do a dot and make it bigger, but almost like paint like a vertical line. Okay, and a vertical line with the black that's going to cover about that much of the eye. Start it up here and then just go over it. And that actually works really well. Don't try to put a circle because, it's irrelevant whether or not you have any white showing underneath the pupil. You just want it to have, some darkness here and some white on the other side of it. And that actually works really well. But, you've got to kind of work that little thing. I'm sure I'll come across another one here. Does the horse have eyes where we can try that on? Sounds like the name of a movie. The Horse Has Eyes. No. Well, I have to bring it up next time I do it, but that's basically what you do. The secret is the vertical. Just drop it vertically and just try to, it's thick enough that you're not going to cover all the white, but you're going to cover most of it. And that works out really well. Blue-eyed Huns. 2 white dots, maybe a tiny black dot in the center. No, you can't do the black dot. It doesn't work. Not in this scale, maybe in 28s. How many of those little barbarians have you finished? I finished 5. To me, when you sign off, signal goes off. Show the faces I'm painting up close. Sure, when I'm finished. How about these other guys? Let's see. Well, this is why I can't get nothing done. Oh, shit. Let's see here. Let's zoomificate. I'm not scared of showing what I do up close. I do not paint at 3 feet distance. Let's see. None of these guys have eyes, I don't think. And the color you're seeing is not what I'm seeing. Golly. This camera is impossible to find where it is. And they're not sealed yet. All right, where'd the camera go? Hunt for the camera. And now let's take a look at this guy, which I'm not sure if I'm done with him or not. Yes, I don't know that I can get it zoomed in more than that. Well, what do I know? The lighting's all off. It's like it's got too much like it's too like bold. It's too bold. So, actually, I could probably do this. And get rid of this asshole up here in the corner. There we go. And I got a bigger surface area to see this under. Yeah, I'm looking at them on the screen there, and they don't look very good to me. They look better in person because it's not a photograph. The video somehow gets lost in it. So, okay. Let's try to finish this guy. That ain't going to happen. Finishing this guy tonight. Shit, it's almost 10 o'clock. Yeah, it's a resolution issue. And the video doesn't have the same resolution as a photograph does. So you just have to wait for the pictures on Facebook when they're done. And they'll look awesome. I hope. Or I'm going to give up painting. It's one of the few things I can do right. Don't take this away from me. That's right. Nordic Maelstrom, TikTok. My own Flavor Flav. You got to get you the big clock that goes around your neck and keep track of it. Yeah, I'm actually going to go ahead and call it a night. But yeah, these guys are pretty nice, but man, they've got a lot of details. So if you don't like painting faces, these are probably not the right guys for you. But anyways, as always, thanks for coming along for the ride, folks. 2 hours here on a work night. Friday night probably won't be on tomorrow. Oh, warning. Saturday morning I may not be on. I've got to, only if it's made of pure gold, just like your grill. Saturday morning probably will not be any painting. I've got to take the wife's car in for service. And if you're not there first thing, you'll get missed out. So I don't think I'm going to sign on and just do like 45 minutes of a show. So Saturday morning probably will not be any painting, so might not be any painting for a couple days. But just a warning, should be back on Sunday. But anyways, thanks for coming along for the ride, and we'll see you guys soon.